Hello and welcome to the 23rd episode of Total Drama Multiverse. This episode is a pretty big one because this episode, it had so much pre-production that I started working on it at, making the challenge, that I started working on it at 10:30 and it's 11:24 and I just started the recording. So, yeah, we got a big challenge. But before that, we have our pre-challenge section. And not gonna lie, with our pre-challenge section, not too much is going on. I mean, of course, you got these three bonding, especially these two. Dipper still is not liking Fritz. But at this point, it's become less of like they hate each other, more of they just ignore each other's existence. But I think Dipper's just trying to think of what logically is the next step. And then Peter is still in good with at least Toph. But Toph and Luz are spending the morning reconnecting, and Toph is apologizing to Luz. Luz is apologizing to Toph, and they're just becoming buds again, which both of them are very happy about. So, yeah. We can just cut to our challenge section because there's not much there, but there's a lot here. So, this challenge was suggested by nobody. I do have one more that is suggested by Twin Bro Wolves, which will be in our next video. But then every single challenge going forward outside of that one will be from me until next season. Until like a little after the beginning of next season. So, yeah. But this challenge is Challenge 19. Think on the Brink. Fire name. Each contestant is dangled from the iconic cliff, like from episode 1 of Total Drama, by 3 separate ropes. When they get a question they will get a question based off a random eliminated contestant. If they get the question correct, they move on with no consequence. If it's incorrect, then one of the ropes will be cut. Lose all 3 ropes, and you will plummet 1,000 feet while also being eliminated from the challenge. Everyone's gonna fall in the water except for Fritz, who's gonna fall on a net, because he's freaking a robot. So yeah. But the reason this one took so long is y'all won't be able to see this, but I actually have created a wheel which has 2 questions for each of our eliminated contestants, because I didn't want to have to think of them on the spot. So I've made 32 different questions, 2 for each. So yeah, we'll get the random number generator right here. Now, real quickly, the order of they're just going to be going from left to right, and it doesn't really matter. Like, this is just the order they're dangled in. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, because they're still just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, we'll go in. So I'll hit the randomizer wheel, and our first question for Toph is it is, what is Kissy's biggest fear? Let me remove it. So Kissy, remember, she's the big pink monster from way earlier in the season. Toph hung out with Kissy a little bit, but I don't know if she'd hang out enough with her to know her biggest fear. However, Luz does definitely know it, and I think Luz and Toph are helping each other because you're allowed to help each other in this challenge. So she probably says that she can't remember exactly, but she does remember Kissy rambling on and on about something called the prototype. So Toph tells Chris that Kissy's biggest fear is the prototype, and Chris says that is correct, but it's actually getting captured by the prototype. But it's close enough. So Toph moves on to the next round with all 3 ropes intact. Then we have Luz's first question. And Luz's first question is going to be... Okay, don't be that one. That'd be too easy. Okay, this should be better. What is Tails' best friend's name from outside of the game? So, from his home reality. Now, Luz never really talked to Tails at all. However, Peter was best friends inside the game with Tails. But Peter tells Luz that he's trying to secure immunity for himself, so he's not going to be helping anyone. And Luz is like, oh, well, that's annoying because we're supposed to be aligned. And he's like, no, I just am letting y'all have my vote. I'm still trying to win myself. And Luz is like, okay, that's a little concerning though. So Luz says, I don't know, freaking Jared. And Chris is like, yeah, I know that's obviously wrong. The answer was Sonic. And Peter's like, yep, I feel like that he's talked about Sonic a lot. And Luz is like, I was never even near y'all when Tails was in the game. So, yeah. Then we get to Peter's first question. Peter's first question is... by the way, that means Luz has 2 ropes. What is the name of the farm Applejack lived and worked on? Now, Peter did align with Applejack earlier in the competition, but it was... I think they made her feel comfortable enough to where she talked to them. They wouldn't care as much, them being Peter and Tails. And also just being on the team with her while she was still bonding with Ashley, because, you know, that's... 2 cowgirls are going to talk about it. I think he would know that it was Sweet Apple Acres. I searched that up, by the way. I do not just remember that. I searched that up. So he knows that. So Peter moves on with 3 ropes. Then we get to Dipper's first question. Dipper is very smart. And I'd say he's probably studied a lot of the contestants. But will he know what is Star's species called? And Dipper's like, oh, I don't think anyone else here except maybe Luz would get this, but I've actually studied Star and noticed that she is not a human. She's in fact a Mumin, which is basically the same thing. They just have the ability to do magic. At least that's what I think it is. I being like Bryson. I think it's that. I don't really remember as much though, but I do remember it's called a Mumin. So... and that was the question anyway. So Dipper gets it correct. Dang, these guys are kind of locked in. So then we go to Monica. And Monica, first question is... What was Elmo's wish had he won the game? Monica would probably not really know this. So I think Monica would say, I don't know. After he came back, it was probably to get revenge on the people who voted him out originally. And Chris is like, that is incorrect. It is world domination. So Monica is down to 2 ropes. So R.I.P. Monica. Or at least 1 for ropes. So then we get Agatha's first question. And Agatha's first question is, what was the name of the upper city from Jinx's reality? Now, Agatha is pretty much relying solely on help from Monica and Fritz, because she don't even know half these people. So, she looks over to Monica and, or she looks over to Fritz. Fritz has no idea. She looks over to Monica, and while Monica did hang out with Jinx a lot, I don't think Jinx would really talk about her home life too much. So Monica would be like, it was something over. It was something over. But she doesn't remember the rest of it. So Agatha says, I don't know, something over. And Chris is like, you gotta give me the full name. And Agatha's like, well, I don't know, it's not fair. And he's like, well, life ain't fair, but you get the question wrong. It is Piltover. And Monica's like, oh, I knew that. So Agatha's annoyed. So Agatha's down to 2 ropes. We then have Fritz's first question. And Fritz's first question, I hope I have enough questions, I should. Fritz's first question is, what is the name of the person who screwed over Ashley in this Venture Camp All-Stars? And I don't think he would know this one. I think he would have maybe heard a few things just because she probably talked about it a lot, but I think the only people who would really know this for a fact is Peter and Luz. And obviously they're not going to help Fritz, especially when... Actually, I'll save that for the post-challenge. So I think he just doesn't know, and Chris reveals that it was Jake. I hate that stupid bitch. Jake. So he's down to 2 ropes. So ending our first round, we have 3 ropes, 2 ropes, 3 ropes, 3 ropes, 2 ropes, 2 ropes, 2 ropes. So yeah. This brings us to Toph's second question. And Toph's second question is, where was Jax trapped before Total Drama? Now, I don't think any of her allies would know this, even Peter, so I don't think she gets this right. And Chris reveals that it is the Digital Circus, the amazing Digital Circus. Toph's like, how was I supposed to know that? He's like, I don't know, just get lucky next time. So Toph gets cut down to 2 ropes. Then we get to lose, and by the way, this is the person to last the longest, so only one person wins immunity. That, or whenever I run out of questions, whoever's still in. Yeah, we'll do that. Well, whenever I run out of questions, whoever's still in will be the one who wins immunity. By the way, Luz's next question is, why did Peely enter the game? Which I don't think Luz and Peely ever interacted, not once. But I think it would be kind of common knowledge that he entered as a spy, as an agent, Peely. And I think the pipeline goes, Luz is friends with Toph, who's best friends with Ezekiel, whose idol is Trump, whose friend is Agent Peely. So I think due to that whole pipeline, Toph would be able to let Luz know that it was to gain access to the Zero Shard, which Luz already knows some about because she was already trapped with that whole thing in the beginning of this season, actually before the game show even. So yeah, she gets it right, and Chris is like, yep, it was to get control over the Zero Shard. So she stays at 2 ropes. Then we get to Peter. And for Peter, he got the other Elmo one. He got Where Does Elmo Live? And I think Peter would he know this? Probably not. So I think Peter says, I don't know, something street, but he gets it wrong. And it is revealed to be Sesame Street. So Peter is cut down to 2 ropes. Then we get to Dipper. Dipper, again, very smart contestant here, but we'll see what goes on with him. Dipper gets, what political party does Trump belong to? And I feel like Dipper would pretty easily be able to get this one right, that it is Republican, conservative. So, and I feel like everyone would, I feel like probably everyone here except Agatha would get that right. And obviously these two would help Agatha. So, yeah, he stays at 3 full ropes. He's locked in. Then we get to Monica. Yeah, currently everyone is at 2 ropes except for Dipper, who's at 3. But Monica might change because Monica gets, what is Jinx's real name? And I think if she thinks about it enough, she would probably could think about one of the times where Jinx snapped. And I think she could pretty much figure out, yeah, her real name is Powder. Or at least her original nickname. I don't really remember. But yeah, so Powder. So Monica stays at 2 ropes. We then get Agatha. And Agatha's question is, what is Marcy's favorite JRPG series called? And Monica and Fritz have no clue. So she just, and obviously Luz is not going to help. And I feel like Toph probably wouldn't actually know anyway, but still wouldn't help. So Agatha kind of gets cooked here, and she starts whining it. She continues whining about how unfair this challenge is for her. But it doesn't matter. She gets cut down to 1 remaining rope. We have 19 questions left, so hopefully that will get at least a few people out. We can't have everyone we get immunity. Then we get to Fritz's next question. what is Izuku's dream school? And I feel like Fritz just looks right over to Monica, and Monica's like, oh, UA High. And he actually got into it recently. And Fritz is like, okay, UA High. And he gets that right. So, yeah, if any of these three get an Izuku question, it's basically free. So, yeah, ending round 2. Everybody is at 2 ropes except for Dipper, who has 3 ropes, and Agatha, who has 1 rope. So, yeah, we'll get to round 3. Now, for round 3, Toph's first question is, how long has Lauren, aka Scary Girl, lived on Wawanakwa? And I don't think Toph gets this question. So yeah, after thinking about it for a bit, she says a year, but nope, it's actually been at this point about 9 months. So, yeah, she's down to 1 rope. We get to lose, and for lose, we get. Oh dang, this is so easy. She gets, what is Star's crush's name? And Luz would know all about Marco. So she'd immediately say Marco and get it correct. Keeping her at 2 ropes. So then we have Peter. Will he stay at 2 ropes? Yes, he will, because his question is, what is Tails' IQ? And he would know the exact number is 306. So, yeah, sorry. That's not fair. Let's see if Dipper gets an easy one. Dipper gets... What was the name of Green Shadow's caretaker? I feel like the only person here who would really know this is probably maybe Luz, because she was in good with Marcy. So probably Luz would know this. And while Dipper would not know this, I think Luz wants to work with Dipper. So Luz tells Dipper, and Toph and Peter are like, why'd you tell him? And Luz is like, just let me cook. And they're like, okay. So Dipper gets it right, that it is Crazy Dave. So Dipper stays at his nice 3. So yeah. Then we get to Monica's third question. Monica's third question is, how old is Kissy? Now, I think Monica does not know this, so I think she goes, well, she looks old, so maybe like, I don't know, 50 or 60. And I think Luz and Toph probably laugh, and Chris does too. And Chris is like, yeah, no, she's 7. And Monica's like, what? So, yeah, Monica gets cut down to 1 rope. This brings us to Agatha's next question. And Agatha's next question is, how many people are in Applejack's mainframe group, including herself? Now, in this question, I don't think anybody here would know it. Not a single person. Because I don't think a single person here was close to Applejack. Because I feel like, except for Peter, of course. But, and then Ashley, but she's already out. So I think Agatha just kind of gets screwed over here. And because Peter's obviously not going to help. Also, excuse my hiccups. And Agatha rages and cries, but gets eliminated from the challenge, not securing immunity. Yeah, but then it's Fritz's next question. So Fritz's next question is... No, never mind. But it's, what is Green Shadow's biggest regret? And I think Luz immediately pipes up and says, wait, Chris, you shouldn't be sharing that. And Chris is like, too bad. And Luz is like, oh, that's mean. But obviously Fritz doesn't know, so Fritz gets cut down to 1 rope. And then it's revealed that it is abandoning her best friend Solar Flare to be eaten by the zombies, just so that when she definitely could have saved her in time. So, yeah, that's sad. So we end round 3 with Toph at 1 rope, Luz at 2 ropes, Peter at, I believe 2 ropes. If not, I'm sorry. Dipper at 3, Monica at 1, Fritz at 1, and Agatha is out. We'll get to our last one. I think Peter's at 2. If not, he is now. We'll say there was like some mid-challenge push where he could gain a rope back. I don't know if he is. Toph's first question is, for round 4, of course, is what is N? And I think Toph didn't really, I mean, she was on the same team as N. So I think what Toph would say is a murder drone. And I think that Chris would be like, almost. They are actually called disassembly drones. And she's like, oh, those are basically the same thing. And he's like, yeah, well, too bad. And Toph gets cut down, making her the second person to lose a chance at immunity. So yeah, then is Luz's next question. Remember, Luz is still at 2 ropes. And her next question is, what does Lauren, or aka Scary Girl, live in? And just like Toph with In, I think Luz knows even less about Scary Girl. So I think Luz gets this completely wrong. She probably says, I don't know, some like gothic place, and she's wrong. So she gets cut down to 1 rope, but it's revealed that it is, or what she lived in, not what she lives in currently, because she lives on Walnaqua, but what she lived in was a funeral home. So yeah, that's creepy. So Luz is down to 1 rope. Peter, he's currently at 2 ropes, I think. And Peter, I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't even matter if Peter wins immunity or not for the outcome of this, so it's fine. So Peter, what was the name of the monster from N's reality? And I think Peter was one of the main ones to fight it, but I feel like everyone probably knows this one, so he says Cyn. C-Y-N, of course, because you remember that one attacked everybody, so Peter stays at his 2 ropes left. Then we get to Dipper. This is going to be a long one, yeah? We get to Dipper, and Dipper's next question, remember he's still at 3, is what placement did Ezekiel get in both of the OG Total Drama seasons? And Toph is already at the bottom of the 1,000-foot cliff, but I feel like she probably earthbends up there to watch. And Luz asks Toph to tell her, because Toph would know, and Toph's like, why are you trying to help Dipper so much? And Luz is like, just tell me. So Toph's like, oh, well, he said that he got first boot twice. So Luz tells that to Dipper. Like, she's like whispering it to Dipper, so that these two don't hear. Don't hear that she's helping. And Dipper says that it is a last place, and he is correct. So then we get to Monica's. Monica is currently at 1 rope, and I think, okay, yeah, we can end it after this round. Okay, so Monica gets, what are the names of Marcy's 2 childhood friends from back home? And while Toph knows this, Luz knows this, Peter probably knows this, Dipper knows this, I think a lot of people would know this. I don't think Monica would know this, because I don't think she paid any attention. So she'd probably get it partially right, though, just because Marcy talked about him so much. So I think she'd probably say, like, I don't know, like, Allie and Sophie. And I think Luz probably just smacks her face. Or probably Dipper, whoever, and it is revealed that, nope, it is not Allie and Sophie, but Anne and Sasha, so Monica falls down to her immunity's demise. So then we get to our last question, although I actually have 6 questions here, so I don't know which one it'll be. That means I had 5 whole questions that were useless. I don't care, actually. But Fritz gets, how many had Jax been trapped, or how many, oh my gosh, I did not type this right. How much time had Jax, what the fuck is this question? Okay, no. I'm making a new question, ignore that. How many people were trapped in the circus with Jax? That's a terrible question, what I just had. And Fritz was on the same team as Jax, so I feel like he would probably say a pretty solid 6. And you might be thinking, if you know the digital circus, well, there's 6 people in there, because this is including Jax. There's Jax, Zubul, Gangle, Kinger, Ragatha, and Pomni. However, this is before Pomni. This is like in that little area where Kaufmo just abstracted, and Pomni is just about to come in, is when Jax comes. So Jax had never met Pomni in this universe. So, yeah, it's actually revealed to be 5. And Fritz falls down into his net, meaning that our 3 people to win immunity are Luz, Peter, and Dipper. So congratulations to them. We'll bring everybody back over here, and then we will let me set back up these teams, and then I'm gonna reset our recording, because we're already about to reach the recording limit. I've been yapping for so long. So we have, of course, Monica, Fritz, Agatha, we have Toph over here, just like that. Look at that beautiful. Actually, we're gonna move it to here. I'll explain why in a minute. So yeah, I'll be right back. Alright, I'm right back. So, when it comes to the post-challenge section, I think the first thing that's happening is these two, along with Dipper himself, are confused on why Luz is trying to vote out, or is trying to help not get voted out. I guess Dipper's so much trying to help Dipper. So, Dipper comes up and confronts Luz and is like, and at first thanks her for the help, but second of all, asks why she decided to help him. And Luz says, well, I have an idea. What if you align with Toph, me, and Peter, and we just take out Monica, Agatha, and Fritz one by one? Dipper's like, okay. But in confessional, Dipper says, while he agrees to this for now, he knows numbers-wise, Luz and Toph will never not be together now that they're friends again. And Peter has been aligned with Toph for a very long time, so it's unlikely that they will stick together. However, he feels that both trios, the other one being Monica, Agatha, and Fritz, have no real places where he can put cracks. He also still doesn't like Fritz, even though he's been not talking or really thinking about Fritz recently. So I think now that he's the swing vote, I think, actually, I don't even know, would he really be the swing vote? Because I feel like these 3 probably vote, well, no, because Dipper has immunity, and so does Luz. So they probably vote Peter, or did Peter also, yeah, no. Dipper, Luz, and Peter want immunity, so they have to vote Toph. So yeah, he's kind of the swing vote between Toph and these 3, who are trying to help Dipper be on their side, Fritz. So he's the swing vote between Toph and Fritz. And he knows that he doesn't want to be stuck with either side. So what he plans on doing is he plans on getting out Fritz, then coming and trying to align with Monica and Agatha afterwards to take out one of the others. And then he'll just keep trying to flip-flop a little bit until he can make a really solid final 2-pack with somebody. So, yeah, but he starts this by finally getting out his person that he hates with a 4-3 vote. I'm sorry to anyone who is rooting for Fritz. That is the end of his run. Fritz stands up and takes his run pretty well, and he goes to leave, and after being sent to Agent Peely, he decides to not go back to his reality, but instead go to a reality where it's like the same as his reality, but everyone's anthropomorphic animals. And the reason he does that is so that he can fit in as, you know, being an animatronic, and he can go see at least a version of his family again without them freaking out and thinking he's a demon. So, yeah. That's going to do it for this episode of Total Drama Multiverse. And I can't wait to catch y'all in the next one where we will be going over our final 6. We are getting near the end. All right. Bye, y'all.